I'm Josh Cooperman, and this is Convo by Design, with a long overdue introduction to a new concept in design houses, remote and virtual design, in Oklahoma, no less. You have been hearing a lot about this remote design house project if you've been listening to Convo by Design for a while. So I am so happy and thrilled and relieved and honored to start presenting this to you. It's taken a while. Let me start at the very beginning. For over 2 years now, you have heard about my partnership with Thermosol. So you know that I have extremely high standards for Convo by Design partnerships. Thermosol is an extraordinary partner because there is this rare combination of intuitive design with exceptional performance. They have state-of-the-art facilities located in Round Rock, Texas, and a company that's about to celebrate 65 years offering excellence in form and function. The Wellness and Design Thought Leadership Series presented by Thermosol is a programming feature that regularly showcases remarkable design talent and how they do what they do and the manner in which they do it, allowing designers to emulate successful strategies and make smarter clients who know what questions for of top professionals. If you want to understand more about this company and their history, please check the show notes for the link to episode 221 with Thermosol third generation CEO Mitch Altman. He explains the history behind the company, and really that's what makes this company so special. Combine that with the cutting edge technology, their world-class domestic facilities, and you have a company delivering predictable elegance upon which you can rely. And nowadays, how important is that? Thermosol.com. I'm a native Angeleno, born and raised in Los Angeles, the Valley, to be more specific. In the 1980s, when Valley Girls, parachute pants, mini trucks, and Depeche Mode were part of my everyday life, I wasn't into design and architecture at that time. It was only after leaving and returning to LA did I realize an appreciation for the amazing design surrounding me. I should say the first and second times I left LA and came back, because I've always come back. I grew up in a mid-century traditional, a California ranch house that was once a stagecoach stop and later a train station in Chatsworth, and much later a Dingbat that was toppled in the Northridge earthquake. So when Tulsa, Oklahoma was selected as the site for the 2022 Remote Design House, by the way, it started as the 2021 Remote Design House, but it seems silly to start it in 2021 when nothing was happening. Didn't realize nothing was going to happen, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Tulsa. Most people I spoke with about the concept didn't really understand the idea behind it at the very beginning. The idea is so simple that it gets lost a little bit from the very start. The pandemic created a forced shelter in place for everyone universally, which affected home and office design more than most other industries. I would say except for the traditional office space, but that's changing too. The core ideas of both home and office have changed forever, and rightfully so. At the same time, the very nature of what architects and designers do hasn't changed at all. While their means, methods, processes, and procedures certainly have, the remote nature of this design house is in direct response to designers responding to clients that they could not see in person at the time. And for those who have left their current city or state but love their designer and want to remain with them, this is for you. If I live in Los Angeles and move to Aspen, I might want my designer to work on my project there. But if my designer doesn't know how to work remotely or virtually, that can and will be a problem. Remote design is the practice of working in one place on a project in another. Virtual design is the process of working on a project that does not currently exist. Think of it as an idea without a physical embodiment. And by the way, if that seems far-fetched, it shouldn't feel that way, because the metaverse is coming, and that's all this is going to be. So the Remote Design House Tulsa is a real project using real designers who will never have to physically step foot in the project house. All the work is being done virtually and remotely, with local trades and artisans doing the work locally in Tulsa. This project will also not have tours, and there are no ticket sales, there are no events, and there are no parties. No matter where you are listening to this, you will have the same full access to the project through videos, before and after segments, project features, and an intimate look at the project house itself, the neighborhood, and the city of Tulsa. Side note, I was recently in Los Angeles for a design event. This was back in May, so I guess not so recently. And I was telling many in the trade about the project. The most common response was, and I quote, "Ew, why Tulsa?" End quote. This has been a common response since I started planning this project back in 2020. It's weird. There is this visceral negative response to the idea of Oklahoma in general, and Tulsa as a byproduct, and the Midwest as well, from many I have met in LA, New York, San Francisco, and the other, let's just call them tier 1 design destinations. My response is always the same. Oh, when was the last time you were in Tulsa? Not a single person with that response, not one, has ever been to Tulsa. Because had they been, they would know what a special city this is, which is exactly why it was selected. Over Austin, Nashville, Memphis, St. Louis, Kansas City, Seattle, and Denver. Nothing against those cities. They're amazing. You already know that. But Tulsa is special. And over the next year and a half, you're going to find out why. So let's talk about the family for a second. Every designer was given the same fictional family, the Jennings. Michael, 45, Rachel, 42, and their children, Davis, 19, and Rose, 17. Transplants from New York City. The family learned that they could work remotely from anywhere in the country and sought out a city where they could slow down, focus on family, and still grow their business, make friends, finish high school, and pursue a higher quality of life. The desire was to slow down, focus, and decrease exposure to the rat race and find their space. Michael's a TV producer. He's an avid cook, not a chef. He enjoys his work, but is looking forward to ways to separate himself from doing it 24/7, 365. Michael is connected and looks for ways to disconnect, media-wise. Spends time volunteering, coaching youth sports, and engaging in creative endeavors. This includes building and refinishing furniture. Rachel, she's in sales. She manages a territory across the U.S., does the majority of her work online, but travels about 5 times a year to industry trade shows. Rachel enjoys reading, yoga, quiet meditation. She's an avid baker who loves spending time in the kitchen and enjoys spending even more time with the family. Davis, he's a college student attending school on the East Coast, and while his room is not occupied year-round, when he is at home, he spends countless hours on research projects. He spends time gaming with his college friends around the country and enjoys reading, golf, and computer training events. Rose is a senior in high school. She is a highly accomplished athlete. She plays club soccer and lacrosse and engages in debate competitions. Rose misses her friends desperately back home and looks forward to playing host when they come to town and visit her. So there are times when she is exhausted and physically beat up from long tournament weekends. She spends long hours doing research papers and studying. So her workspace needs to be both functional and comfortable. She's a fashion-forward individual and cherishes her personal space, I think, as most, if not all, teenage girls do. The home is an American colonial revival. Built in 1936, this is a unique property with a park-like setting and Tulsa's Crow Creek running through the backyard. Project rooms include the living room, kitchen, dining room, Michael and Rachel's room, Rose's room, Davis's room, a club room basement, guest quarters with sunroom, office. All bedrooms are en suites. A living room. There's a lot of space here to be done, and the home hasn't been, as you'll see, the home hasn't been lovingly updated. It has not. It's been maintained, but not updated. So that's the house. Designers. So rather than introduce you to all the designers selected for this project at once, I'm going to introduce you to them as their projects become reality. Due to an absolute nightmare of a supply chain, product discontinuation scenario, and logistical issues, all of which you will hear about, we're working on basically two project rooms at a time and capturing all the details and sharing. So what was initially designed to be a 1-year project is now, in all honesty, probably going to be a 3-year project. So settle in and enjoy the ride with us. You are listening to a conversation from and about the 2022 Tulsa Remote Design House here on Convo by Design. We'll be right back. We are living at a time of incredible growth, both technologically and creatively, with respect to interior design, exterior design, and architecture. There is no question. There are companies thinking differently about the business of design and how to make products super serve those for whom they're being made. One of those companies, and one of my favorites, is Moya Living. Designer and fabricators of some of the most stunningly beautiful, incredibly durable, and highly functional kitchen, bath, and outdoor kitchen cabinetry on the market today. Powder-coated steel with stunning lines, vibrant colors to fit any design style or aesthetic. A history of designing cabinetry for the scientific community, so you know it's been tested in some of the truly the most harsh conditions available. Moya O'Neill is the CEO and founder of Moya Living. She's the inspiration behind the design. Designers, their specification process is so simple, it will make your job so much easier. Check them out online through the socials at Moya Living, their website, moyaliving.com, and in the real world, their live kitchen showroom in Fountain Valley, California. Gail Davis of Gail Davis Designs is a friend, someone I have immense respect for, and who was so generous with her time. She selected the club room. Gail is an amazing designer with a skill that transcends the work. She has a process and a flow that was such a pleasure to work with. Nothing phases Gail, and if there's a problem, a discontinuation, or needed reselect, she just handles it, and was such a joy to work on in this space. So again, this is the club room walkout basement. Gail has a background in fashion, and her passion for both color and textiles are evident in her work. One story about Gail: there's a small stairway, as you'll see, leading down to the club room, a walkout basement. Gail said that for the stairs, we're going with black. And my first response was, excuse me? No, I don't think so. And there was a pause. She said, I get it. Trust me. I did. And she was right. Her vision turned a small, tight stairway into a moment of anticipation, a theatrical entry that allows the mind to wander and wonder what is around the corner. Gail studied at New York School of Interior Design and sharpened her skills interning at Bunny Williams, Inc. and David Kleinberg and Associates. Gail's work has been published in AD Pro, Elle Decor, Domino, House Beautiful, and you have heard her here on Convo by Design. To see her work, please check the link in the show notes. This is Gail prior to completion of the work. This was the lead up. So I'm so excited. We were just sitting here talking. It's like, hey, we should do the walkthrough now. And you're like, yeah, I'm ready now. I got time. So I love that. Thank you.
No, thank you. I've been wanting to do this. Like, I'm excited.
I love this. Okay. So this is the Remote Design House Tulsa, and your space is the club room. Most houses in Tulsa that were built around that time all have basements. The difference with this one is it's a walkout. And,
nice.
And so, yeah, I will show you what it walks out to in a minute. But I thought first, why don't I give you the grand tour?
Okay, let's go. I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you can ask me any questions that you have. Right.
How high are the ceilings? The ceiling.
Ceilings are about 7.5.
Okay.
I'll measure and get you exact. They're not super low. And then, by the way, also I have here, and I'm going to turn the camera around. Hang on.
Oh my God! Like that.
So I'm going to turn around. So I have furniture in here because you know what I was doing? I was emptying out every room, and then what happened was designers are saying, "Hey, I need something to show scale." So I have some furniture in here for the sole purpose of showing scale, right? So this is the walkout that heads out. We'll go out there in a little bit. First, I wanted to give you a nice walkthrough. So this is the tiles are original tile floors, pine paneling. It appears that it's had a wash, been pickled, right? The fixtures that are in here are original, super interesting. It looks like they built the facade, which has the TV mount over the fireplace. Fireplace is gas, it works. Measurements for the space, if not already, will be in the Google Drive folder. So I'll put a doc in there with all the measurements, floor, width, height, length, everything. These are the built-ins.
Love.
Adjustable.
Love.
Right? As in every basement, there's a little damp rid in there.
Yeah,
because it is a basement. Yeah. And then I'll show you the walk-in to it is the stairway.
Love.
Which is also same paneling.
I love that paneling, by the way.
It's cool, right?
It is. I know people would be like, rip it out, whatever, paint over it. I would want to stain it darker, if anything, to really make it feel like a completely different part of the house, like a cabin getaway.
Interesting. Darker, not lighter.
Yeah, I got a masculine hand, my friend.
Love it. Love it. Very cool.
Because then what I would do with everything else is lighten it up, but you would feel like you're coming into a cozy cabin. Got it. I see. A couple of things I want to show you. So beautiful.
This is an original window, and it looks like what they did outside. There may have been a leak at one point. So it looks like what they did is they kept the windows and then they bricked it. And then outside of this, there's concrete with French drains. So that has all been addressed. But the window here, original glass panes, it opens, does not close fully. So keep that in mind. If there's a shadow box idea or something that you may want to do, I'll send you dimensions to that too. It's about 4 inches thick, 4 inches wide.
Okay.
And I think, I'm not sure, but I think where this thing is, I think there's one behind this too. If you'd like, I can record the removal of it and we can see what's back there together.
Perfect. Oh my God, I really love the
Unless you
space.
absolutely love this.
No, I do.
It's cool, right?
Yeah. Like we're so quick to rip everything out. And I feel like
Yep.
a different configuration, maybe two different type of seating areas, one with a card table, a game table, so this way you could do stuff, and then maybe something in the corner with bean bags, like you don't have to sit on the sofa and be so perfect with the swivels, but you could sit in the corner on the bean bag and be reading a book. I like the floors.
So
I
cool.
would just yeah, once again, everybody would come through and like start ripping shit out, and I was like, no, use what's here, like pay homage to the house and stop trying to make it like it's 2021, but
Love that.
be able to do 2021, but pay respect to like your grandparents live with you, so you don't want to like just throw them out.
Yeah, and you will
Beautiful.
find certain details. That is the with the air conditioning, that's
I love
original.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah, very cool. So now I'm going to show you. We're going to walk out together.
Okay. I love that window and the door. Like there's your light right there.
Yeah, cool, right? Hardware on the door is original.
Love
I
it.
don't know if you can really see it.
No, I can.
I'll show you on that. Original skeleton key. Yeah. So this is the walkout. So it's got a nice, it's got a nice overhang.
I love it.
It's under, and I'll show you. It's under the veranda on the first floor. And as we walk out, so you'll start to hear the water.
So jealous.
So the water feature.
Oh my God.
Just got it working.
All of that is your property?
Yes. All of this is the property.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
This is Crow Creek. And yes, this is all on the property.
So what's the story? Who lived there before? Or who,
I don't have that yet.
Oh my God. Absolutely beautiful. Oh my God. So can I do the outside space as well that's right out there, or is that for someone else?
No. What do you have in mind? What are you thinking? You mean where this is, where this overlook?
No, like as soon as you come out of the space that I'm working on. Yeah, right there.
No, absolutely. Yeah. That's part of it. Yeah.
Okay, because I'm thinking like a nice cigar area. Like reading nook / cigars, in case you're reading a book and you want to smoke a cigar.
That's beautiful.
Oh my God.
Hey, by the way, did you know that Oklahoma is one of the most progressive cannabis states in the country?
Not surprised.
Really? That totally surprised me. It only made me think of that when you mentioned cigars.
Well, I feel like once you step outside of what we deem progressive, like, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, California.
Yeah.
You really get to see people who are like, who have left here and who are changing minds somewhere else and like really making it happen for them. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Right?
Oh my God. Not surprised. So cool. That is so beautiful.
Thank you. And I'm so excited about this because what you could, seeing your work, I love your work, and you know that we've spoken about that, and just how bold you are, and how creative you are. I think I cannot wait to see what you do with this.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Like, I'm just like thinking like a chunky rug. Like I want it so very Ralph Lauren meets not Martha Stewart, like meets Oprah. Like there's some like it's masculine, but it's also feminine and family, and like inviting to all. Like whoever sits there, whether it's male or female, on their own or all together. I would never try to be like, oh, let's make this room light because it's dark. So you run with that, at least for me.
Yeah, and as in the bio, the home is being designed for the Jennings,
which is a family of 4 who are relocating from New York City. They're escaping Manhattan, and they're remote workers. So they made the choice, they made that decision to get, like so many hundreds of thousands of people are doing right now, to make the move from a major metropolitan city for the sake of quality of life, which includes moments like what you're describing, right? And having a place for family and a place to go be that isn't work, that isn't, school, that is just their opportunity to live and be.
Like there's even a way that you can make a small portion of that be like Zoom ready. So when they have to do office stuff, but here's the beauty of it. You just walk out that door and like you can disconnect. You can't do that in New York. Like you
Right.
walk out your apartment and you're just like, it's just, everything is still going. At least there's like Mother Nature right outside going, okay. And
Right.
even to be able to do Zoom outside there and have that as your background, everyone that's watching the Zoom that sees will be like, oh my God, I'm so jealous. Like, where are you? And don't get me wrong, it's beautiful up here, but a lot of people like, I need to get out. Like since I don't have to commute, soon as a lot of my friends are like, we don't have to commute, hightailed it out of here. Done.
Right.
Tennessee, North Carolina, South Carolina, like bye. They're like, Texas, bye. Florida, although the Floridians are coming back up. Because I was like, yeah, that's a shit show.
Yeah, Florida. Because once you experience that heat, no thank you.
Yeah, and then that's the other thing is it's all about quality of life. Oh my God, I picked the best room.
Yeah, you did. This is going to be a favorite for sure. And the other thing too is this particular space is so special because it's got the walkout, and you have that surprise when you walk out. You have to walk out about 15 or 20 feet before you see that 15-foot drop down into Crow Creek, and you see the water feature. You can hear it the moment you open the door. The one thing that you haven't experienced yet in this particular room, and it's really interesting, at night, it gets pitch black. And the only thing you can see out of those windows between the hours of like 9 and 1 are the fireflies. You'll see the little sparks, and it's amazing.
Oh my God. So reminds me of my childhood.
And I recorded
the tranquility of it.
Yeah. I recorded the audio last night because unless you hear it, you just don't believe it. It is so loud at night. It is teeming with nature. It is the frogs, the crickets, the water feature. I mean, it's just, you walk outside, you're in nature. You are in nature. It is just astounding.
Okay, I got my work cut out for me. I'm gonna go back and look at my notes and wow.
Cool.
Wow.
So this was go ahead.
No. I was like, definitely let me know dimensions, ceiling height. I can go to town and like do my thing. I mean, it'll be livable.
I have no doubt. I have no doubt it's going to be amazing. So the next step is we've done the virtual walkthrough. I'll go put answers to your questions in the Google Drive. Then you can sort of do pen to paper, sketch, design, do your thing. I will also put in partners that we're working with because I'm securing those at the time as well. And then what I was thinking is when you've got initial design, we can do this again, and then I can you steer me any place you want to look. You want to get close up to something, pull back, go around, whatever you want me to do. I am your assistant.
Okay, I'm just writing something else before I forget. Okay, I'm on it.
You are listening to a conversation from and about the 2022 Tulsa Remote Design House here on Convo by Design. We'll be right back. If you've been listening to Convo by Design for a while now, you have heard me tell you about Article. Great style. Really, it's as simple as that with Article. Things have been challenging for design professionals and their clients for, 2+ years now? You know this already. What you might not know is that it doesn't have to be if you're looking for exceptionally beautiful modern furniture. Article provides a simple and easy way to creating a beautiful modern space because Article works direct with their manufacturers on production of unique and stunning pieces. Then they work directly by providing this well-crafted design directly to you. This direct relationship means you aren't wondering where your furniture is, and you're getting it for an incredible value. What could possibly be better than that? In many cases, the shipping is flat rate, which means no surprises. Right? Even more, their culture and service are rooted in their core values: customer obsession, doing it differently, ownership mindset, winning together. If you're a designer, architect, or residential developer, you must check out their trade program. Discounts, special support, and exclusive perks. Article has the beautiful modern furniture you're looking for at an incredible price, at an incredible value, and you need to check them out. Check out article.com, or if you go to the show notes, there is a specific link which will take you, if you're in the trade, directly to their trade program. You have to see it to really believe it. Thank you, Article. And on it she was. As you can hear, Gail knows her business. She is clear in her ideas, and she is an absolute joy to work with. As promised, some behind-the-scenes stories that you would never know if we weren't talking about it here. Supply chain. Okay, so if you're a designer, you know that the struggle is real. If you're a client, you're just plain frustrated by the increases, delivery problems, lack of customer service, and the product delays. For the clubroom, the vendors we worked with include Noir, Benjamin Moore, the Home Depot, believe it or not, and Article Furniture, amongst others, CFC. Local work was done by local trades, and here's what was so surprising. The response time of painters and electricians was really fast. In just a few weeks, they were scheduled, showed up, did the work. The problem was in production, in product, reselects, for various reasons, but the number one reason was discontinuation and or lack of availability due to discontinuation. Either it was on a ship and nobody knew when it was going to get there, or it was just something that they just couldn't get anymore, automatically discontinued it, or ordered it, waited for delivery, and then at some point, I don't know, fell in the ocean. I can't tell you where things wind up, but reselects were necessary, and it happened multiple times, and Gail is an absolute saint. I love you, Gail. She just dealt with it, and it was amazing. We specified product in September of 2021. Most of it arrived in Tulsa in late May of 2022, and then sat in a warehouse for a few more weeks. After delivery, then it was inspected. I got to tell you, defects were discovered, damage, and that created a whole new set of issues. So let's talk about product damage for a second, because from so many interviews that I've done with designers since the pandemic started, once product started being delivered again, it was happening so fast, so quickly, that things just showed up broken and damaged. And it's something that I don't think is going to end anytime soon, because there is a bona fide issue with customer service right now in our industry. And I can actually hear all the designers nodding their head with me as we talk about this, but it's true. It's a problem. And if you're a manufacturer, if you're a retailer, if you have a showroom, if you deal product to designers, you're probably aware of this, but you need to understand that it is the number one pain source right now, and it is very, very frustrating. So that being said, not to just focus on the negative, there was one vendor we worked with that to date has not only not disappointed in product or service, but they have gone over and above to get it right. And this may surprise you, but it's Article Furniture. This is not a commercial. So I'm not leading into a commercial. This is not a commercial. You have heard ads in the show because they are a partner on the Design House. This is not an ad. You may have heard the article ads on the show, like I said, and you may think that their partnership is the reason for a stellar review. Actually, it's the other way around. They are partners because of the stellar products and services. I've used them before, and when I approached them, we had a friendship from the beginning, so it was familiar. For the club room, their product arrived first. It actually got here so fast, as ordered, that it sat in the space in the original packaging, in the box, while we waited for everything else to get here. The sofa and chairs arrived exactly as ordered. The order process was simple. It was ordered through their trade program, all online, and I could not be happier with them. As is the case with all of the rooms in the Remote Design House Tulsa project, there will be videos, before and after shots, product features, and more. You can check out the show notes for links as well as the Shop the Showcase list, and you'll see everything as it's published. Surprisingly, I shouldn't say surprisingly, but it was surprising to me, the Home Depot Pro Services provided an incredible opportunity. The rug originally specified for this space became unavailable weeks after it was ordered, and the most frustrating part was the manner in which it happened. It was ordered, and then an email comes weeks later, and just, oopsie, no more rug. So I looked at a lot of different vendors. Then I looked into the Home Depot's Pro program and sent Gail some reselect options. We found a rug that was very similar to the original, slightly smaller, which actually worked out better due to the beauty of the original Satio tile. But it was also $1,500 less expensive. And while I was a little dubious at first, to be perfectly honest with you, when it arrived in 4 weeks, the quality is exactly what I was hoping for. So lesson learned here is not to overlook the obvious. Home Depot, Lowe's, Target have all provided an element or two to this space. And a high-low mix that really works. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Go check out the video and decide for yourself. Okay, so we ordered product in September of 2021, and it was delivered in June of 22. And while that was not the plan, understanding that supply chain issues were universal, it was okay. We deal with it, right? Because that's what designers do. Now, I'm not a designer, but working with designers and talking to Gail about this in particular, she was like, look, it's happening everywhere. So we have to deal with it. What we were not okay with was the amount of product damage that was delivered. In one case, there was a leather chair. And by the way, you'll see it in the video. There was a leather chair that was damaged and discolored because someone put packing tape on the leather itself. I can't explain it. I can't even understand it. Another piece, a steel coffee table, was damaged on all sides. The manufacturer, I don't know what to say. What I can tell you is that now more than ever before, customer service and finding new vendors and vendors that you can trust is more important than ever. That's all I'm going to say. But I'll be saying it a lot. And I'll say this again because it bears repeating. Article was an absolute standout. They do receive promotional consideration on the podcast as a promotional partner that extended a trade discount through their trade program. And they are the real deal. Their products are beautiful, high quality. They are durable. We have been really happy with it. And again, go check out the video and decide for yourself. But the other thing was that can't be said enough is their customer service for this project was amazing. I'll be asking our other design partners to specify from them whenever possible, because they were an absolute joy to work with. Most clients don't know what designers really do because they don't tell you every time something goes wrong. And I think this is what clients don't really understand. They don't bother clients with the minutia. The good designers don't anyway. They deal with it like professionals and show the client the spaces that make them happy. And it's not just about making them happy with the final project. It's making them happy along the way and making them as comfortable as possible. This is where the true superpowers of an excellent designer come into play. Gail knew what she was looking for, and because she is such a good communicator, allowed me to confidently look for replacements when there was an issue. I sent her some options, and she made a reselect based on her original plan and factored in all the variables. For clients, here's another valuable lesson. Sending your designer images and links to Instagram and Pinterest is okay. But if you are really in tune with your designer and your designer is a good communicator, you can handle some of the selection and reselections, which will save you money in the time your designer is researching replacement materials, which is a common occurrence now. In other words, go do the research. Don't just go look at Pinterest, but actually do a little research. Find out what you like and send them some options. That's how partnerships are formed. This also helps your designer and their junior designers and interns understand your taste, and that in turn will make the design process run smoother and faster. It will save money on streamlining the process by focusing on products that are more in keeping with your style and preferences. Gail created a perfect environment to check out of work and check in with family and friends. And that was really important for this space. A place to relax, entertain, and play. A theater, game room, quiet meditative space, music space, and chill room, all in one location. Color selections. Gail's color selections in this space included Benjamin Moore's Mercurial in the club room and Caviar on the walls of the stairway. Her color selections captured the spirit of what the Jennings would have wanted for this space. Caviar, a rich, deep black with flat on the walls and satin on the ceiling, created a dramatic entrance that set the tone and mood for what was happening down the stairs and around the corner. While I was concerned that it would be too dark and scary, it was just the opposite. Gail added a stairway LED floor light to light the path and really set the expectations. The sconce, the bangle sconce and ceiling fixture added all the light needed for a utilitarian functionality. Light bringing the laundry down and working side, to the side of the basement, but keeps all the glamour and fun on the club room side intact. Genius. The Mercurial allowed for light to bounce around the room and reflect all the colors without too much bounce, allowing it to be consistent in light and saturation. Multiple lighting was included in the lighting plan, like the bangle sconces, overhead cans that are both enclosed and dimmable LEDs, as well as shelf lighting. The walls remain the original pine paneling, but the Mercurial covers the original pickling. It's interesting. The lighting plan is far better than before, even though the gloss on the pickling bounced the light around the room a little bit. The lighting plan between the floor lamps and the adjustable cans and the sconces and it just all works. It moves around the room. It's functional. It lights it where you want it lit. You can turn it off where you don't. It's really amazing. The Buster and Punch Edison bulbs in the stairway also add to the walk-in effect and the overall lighting plan. Genius 2 was 3 coats of satin poly on the Satio tile and the satin on the ceiling, again, to get that bounce effect of the lighting from the one window at one side of the club room. for a high level of customized light and use of space and planning. It's just amazing. The TV was kept in its space, allowing for viewing of sports from the gaming table or the sofa, business channels if working from down there. The club room, honestly, not a lot of work is going to happen in that space. This was not designed for work, but it is nice to know that if someone needs a workspace, that it's there to use. You know, even if it's a natural noise buffer for the Jennings kids to have their friends over while Michael and Rachel entertain upstairs. You are listening to a conversation from and about the 2022 Tulsa Remote Design House here on Convo by Design. We'll be right back. I know you love talking about great partnerships the same way I do. Let me tell you about an incredible design partner who is working with us on the Convo by Design Remote Design House Tulsa project. Franz Wegner, a company created in 1899 in Attendorn, Germany. They started manufacturing brass beer taps. In 1921, the company expanded to Buenos Aires, manufacturing brass faucetry. The company launched in the US in 1992, and Franz Wegner Premium Collection began in 2008. Franz Wegner crafts high-quality, premium faucets with the objective to create a design-oriented luxury product that exceeds the standards set by world-class designers and architects. Pretty heady stuff, and they do it. If you see a Franz Wegner faucet, it is stunning. You use Franz Wegner faucets, and they perform flawlessly. Product you can depend on after over 120 years designing a truly stunning faucet line. For more information and to check out the entire line of faucets, visit franzwegner.com. So I'm going to spell it for you, right? FranzVegner.com. Thank you, Franz Wegner. And on it she was. As you can hear, Gail knows her business. She is clear in her ideas, and she is an absolute joy to work with. As promised, some behind-the-scenes stories that you would never know if we weren't talking about it here. Supply chain. Okay, so if you're a designer, you know that the struggle is real. If you're a client, you're just plain frustrated by the increases, delivery problems, lack of customer service, and the product delays. For the clubroom, the vendors we worked with include Noir, Benjamin Moore, the Home Depot, believe it or not, and Article Furniture, amongst others, CFC. Local work was done by local trades, and here's what was so surprising. The response time of painters and electricians was really fast. In just a few weeks, they were scheduled, showed up, did the work. The problem was in production, in product, reselects, for various reasons, but the number one reason was discontinuation and or lack of availability due to discontinuation. Either it was on a ship and nobody knew when it was going to get there, or it was just something that they just couldn't get anymore, automatically discontinued it, or ordered it, waited for delivery, and then at some point, I don't know, fell in the ocean. I can't tell you where things wind up, but reselects were necessary, and it happened multiple times, and Gail is an absolute saint. I love you, Gail. She just dealt with it, and it was amazing. We specified product in September of 2021. Most of it arrived in Tulsa in late May of 2022, and then sat in a warehouse for a few more weeks. After delivery, then it was inspected. I got to tell you, defects were discovered, damage, and that created a whole new set of issues. So let's talk about product damage for a second, because from so many interviews that I've done with designers since the pandemic started, once product started being delivered again, it was happening so fast, so quickly, that things just showed up broken and damaged. And it's something that I don't think is going to end anytime soon, because there is a bona fide issue with customer service right now in our industry. And I can actually hear all the designers nodding their head with me as we talk about this, but it's true. It's a problem. And if you're a manufacturer, if you're a retailer, if you have a showroom, if you deal product to designers, you're probably aware of this, but you need to understand that it is the number one pain source right now, and it is very, very frustrating. So that being said, not to just focus on the negative, there was one vendor we worked with that to date has not only not disappointed in product or service, but they have gone over and above to get it right. And this may surprise you, but it's Article Furniture. This is not a commercial. So I'm not leading into a commercial. This is not a commercial. You have heard ads in the show because they are a partner on the design house. This is not an ad. You may have heard the article ads on the show, like I said, and you may think that their partnership is the reason for a stellar review. Actually, it's the other way around. They are partners because of the stellar products and services. I've used them before, and when I approached them, we had a friendship from the beginning, so it was familiar. For the club room, their product arrived first. It actually got here so fast, as ordered, that it sat in the space in the original packaging, in the box, while we waited for everything else to get here. The sofa and chairs arrived exactly as ordered. The order process was simple. It was ordered through their trade program, all online, and I could not be happier with them. As is the case with all of the rooms in the Remote Design House Tulsa project, there will be videos, before and after shots, product features, and more. You can check out the show notes for links as well as the Shop the Showcase list, and you'll see everything as it's published. Surprisingly, I shouldn't say surprisingly, but it was surprising to me, the Home Depot Pro Services provided an incredible opportunity. The rug originally specified for this space became unavailable weeks after it was ordered, and the most frustrating part was the manner in which it happened. It was ordered, and then an email comes weeks later, and just, oopsie, no more rug. So I looked at a lot of different vendors. Then I looked into the Home Depot's Pro program and sent Gail some reselect options. We found a rug that was very similar to the original, slightly smaller, which actually worked out better due to the beauty of the original Satio tile. But it was also $1,500 less expensive. And while I was a little dubious at first, to be perfectly honest with you, when it arrived in 4 weeks, the quality is exactly what I was hoping for. So lesson learned here is not to overlook the obvious. Home Depot, Lowe's, Target have all provided an element or two to this space, and a high-low mix that really works. But you know what? Don't take my word for it. Go check out the video and decide for yourself. Okay, so we ordered product in September of 2021, and it was delivered in June of 22. And while that was not the plan, understanding that supply chain issues were universal, it was okay. We deal with it, right? Because that's what designers do. Now, I'm not a designer, but working with designers and talking to Gail about this in particular, she was like, look, it's happening everywhere. So we have to deal with it. What we were not okay with was the amount of product damage that was delivered. In one case, there was a leather chair. And by the way, you'll see it in the video. There was a leather chair that was damaged and discolored because someone put packing tape on the leather itself. I can't explain it. I can't even understand it. Another piece, a steel coffee table, was damaged on all sides. The manufacturer, I don't know what to say. What I can tell you is that now more than ever before, customer service and finding new vendors and vendors that you can trust is more important than ever. That's all I'm going to say. But I'll be saying it a lot. I'll say this again because it bears repeating. Article was an absolute standout. they do receive promotional consideration on the podcast as a promotional partner that extended a trade discount through their trade program. And they are the real deal. Their products are beautiful, high quality, they are durable. We have been really happy with it. And again, go check out the video and decide for yourself. But the other thing was that can't be said enough is their customer service for this project was amazing. I'll be asking our other design partners to specify from them whenever possible, because they were an absolute joy to work with. Most clients don't know what designers really do because they don't tell you every time something goes wrong. And I think this is what clients don't really understand. They don't bother clients with the minutia. The good designers don't anyway. They deal with it like professionals and show the client the spaces that make them happy. And it's not just about making them happy with the final project. It's making them happy along the way and making them as comfortable as possible. This is where the true superpowers of an excellent designer come into play. Gail knew what she was looking for, and because she is such a good communicator, allowed me to confidently look for replacements when there was an issue. I sent her some options, and she made a reselect based on her original plan and factored in all the variables. For clients, here's another valuable lesson. Sending your designer images and links to Instagram and Pinterest is okay. But if you are really in tune with your designer and your designer is a good communicator, you can handle some of the selection and reselections, which will save you money in the time your designer is researching replacement materials, which is a common occurrence now. In other words, go do the research. Don't just go look at Pinterest, but actually do a little research. Find out what you like and send them some options. That's how partnerships are formed. This also helps your designer and their junior designers and interns understand your taste, and that in turn will make the design process run smoother and faster. It will save money on streamlining the process by focusing on products that are more in keeping with your style and preferences. Gail created a perfect environment to check out of work and check in with family and friends. And that was really important for this space. A place to relax, entertain, and play. A theater, game room, quiet meditative space, music space, and chill room, all in one location. Color selections. Gail's color selections in this space included Benjamin Moore's Mercurial in the club room and caviar on the walls of the stairway. Her color selections captured the spirit of what the Jennings would have wanted for this space. Caviar, a rich, deep black with flat on the walls and satin on the ceiling, created a dramatic entrance that set the tone and mood for what was happening down the stairs and around the corner. While I was concerned that it would be too dark and scary, it was just the opposite. Gail added a stairway LED floor light to light the path and really set the expectations. The sconce, the bangle sconce and ceiling fixture added all the light needed for a utilitarian functionality. Light bringing the laundry down and working to the side of the basement, but keeps all the glamour and fun on the clubroom side intact. Genius. The Mercurial allowed for light to bounce around the room and reflect all the colors without too much bounce, allowing it to be consistent in light and saturation. Multiple lighting was included in the lighting plan, like the bangle sconces, overhead cans that are both enclosed and dimmable LEDs, as well as shelf lighting. The walls remain the original pine paneling, but the Mercurial covers the original pickling. It's interesting. The lighting plan is far better than before, even though the gloss on the pickling bounced the light around the room a little bit. The lighting plan between the floor lamps and the adjustable cans and the sconces and it just all works. It moves around the room. It's functional. It lights it where you want it lit. You can turn it off where you don't. It's really amazing. The Buster and Punch Edison bulbs in the stairway also add to the walk-in effect and the overall lighting plan. Genius 2 was 3 coats of satin poly on the Satio tile and the satin on the ceiling, again, to get that bounce effect of the lighting from the one window at one side of the club room for a high level of customized light and use of space and planning. It's just amazing. The TV was kept in its space, allowing for viewing of sports from the gaming table or the sofa, business channels if working from down there. The club room, honestly, not a lot of work is going to happen in that space. This was not designed for work, but it is nice to know that if someone needs a workspace, that it's there to use. You know, even if it's a natural noise buffer for the Jennings kids to have their friends over while Michael and Rachel entertain upstairs. What you're about to hear is middle of the road. We're halfway through the project, and Gail is walking me through what's going to happen next.
So we're at the point, we've done the walkthrough. We've talked about the space. You actually submitted some ideas for the space. And once again, magical is the adjective that I'm, you know, the way that you capture ideas, the way that you capture emotion and feeling is really cool. And so, you know, if for people who are listening to the podcast, you can go to the show notes and you can see some of the things that Gail has selected. Now, you're not going to see it installed yet because heck, we don't know if it's ever going to arrive.
Come back in 2024 and we will reveal the room then.
2024 is the big reveal. It's going to be well worth it though. All right. So, and by the way, it's interesting. So, looked at the product that was specified for this. And, you know, it's like the sofa was 16 weeks. On average, that sofa, you know, were this not 2020, 2021, that sofa would be, you know, 6 to 8 weeks. That would be the number. And that's, yeah. And now it's 16 weeks and we haven't ordered it yet. We're waiting for the walkthrough with you, which is this. And then once we do the walkthrough, then we're going to order. And I love that you kind of have this policy that you do with all your clients, which is brilliant. It's very smart. And that is order everything at once.
Yes. And be done with it.
Be done with it. It's not gonna all arrive at once.
No.
But at least you know once you've ordered it. And I think the reason why, correct me if I'm wrong, but the reason why is you order it at once, at least then you get on the schedule.
Yes.
So if something is pushed.
Sorry, he's going to bark now.
No worries.
This is my life.
Dog, by the way, love this because that's part of life. That's just the way that it works, right? So you have to, once you get everything ordered, then you put the deposit or you pay for it, then it's on the schedule. Then at least you know, look, the sofa is going to be pushed. That's okay. We can work on some other things while we're waiting for that.
Yeah. Yeah, I like to order everything all at once too, because then it's easier when everything comes in because it goes into the warehouse. And then I go, okay, this is the day I'm installing. These are the couple of days I'm installing. Because when you do piece by piece for a client, they're like, that doesn't look right. That doesn't seem like it's going to fill up the space. Oh, that doesn't look like it's going to be right. You know, so you go through all that. But then when you do the big reveal all at once, they're blown away by how it looks. But I'm definitely like, do a full-on presentation, show your client everything, order it in one shot, and call it a day. Hush.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. All right, so let's walk through this.
Okay.
And so as you specified everything, as you look through this, I love this kind of moody environment that you're creating. It's a club room. It's yes, there is a window,
right,
but it's a walkout. So it is a basement, a walkout basement. So it's got a door, it's got some natural light, which is really great. So tell me about the color that you chose? Let's start with the color.
Okay, so for me, it's Mercurial by Sherwin-Williams. And what I love about it, it is a very moody color. But if you, sorry, once again, I'm home.
That's okay.
If you do this from floor to ceiling, all of it, and I feel like I even want the ceiling in it, because of what's outside, it lends itself to just being like very relaxing. And then you look outside and there's all this greenery, and then you hear, the waterfall. Like it's so peaceful and serene. And that's what I think that's what I was thinking when I chose the color. Because initially I wanted to do the room, and I'm crazy this way, black, because that's another color that I love. That's just like it's so intense, but it's a very moody color. But because you have so much greenery outside, like it wouldn't compete. And that's what, for me, I had to do. I had to pick colors that wouldn't compete, but that just, like, as I would love to say, bless the room. So you always feel like you're in a cozy cabin, like you're always on vacation.
Okay, so let me ask you this now, because, and you can see, that doesn't work. So you can see the walls themselves, it's a pine panel, knotty pine panel. So and it's got a sheen to it, right? So as you paint the panel, the painters know what to do, but I want to walk through this. Do they paint with a primer first, or is the paint you selected, do you go by
everything has to be primed. Everything has to be primed. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Like if they're really good painters, they know like to sand out whatever nicks there are, prime it, prep it, because there's a lot of prepping that's the other thing. People think paint is just paint. There's so much prep that goes into before you paint to make the room look as stunning as it should be. When you see these amazing rooms and you're like, oh my God, how they do that? Well, it starts with like having some really good painters that understand what they're working with. Yeah. And go from there.
Yeah. Now, the trim, everything monochromatic? Everything monochromatic. Okay.
Everything. Like I would, if you go back for a second, that grate there, there, I would even see if I could have them spray paint that and just have it go away, have it fade, or see if it can be replaced. But there's a way, they know how to do it, to like paint it so it will just dissipate.
Yeah.
It will just dissolve into the wall.
And okay, so you're thinking ceiling as well.
Because I want it to be a cocooning effect.
Okay. Very cool.
Or you could do that. Excuse me, Josh. Or for the ceiling, Benjamin Moore has this pearlescent paint that gives like a nice little shimmer. And I would do something like either a gray or like a very, very, very soft blue to it. Like this very pale blue. It's really stunning. And do that and make it amazing. And then I still have to pick sconces.
Okay, so put it. Yeah, right. Put a pin in that. For the ceiling, I'm interested to know what you think. Now, here's the thing: you mentioned a slight blue, but the sofa is green.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, because remember, blue and green go together. Just step outside and look. You got green grass.
Yeah, and by the way, listen, I have said multiple times, I am not a designer, but I asked the question because what I'm trying to do, I want to put myself in the headspace of a client.
Right.
Right. So I want to put myself in the headspace of a client who's going to ask you all the questions, both good and stupid. And yes, there are such things as stupid questions. There really are.
Sometimes yes, you're right. You're right. Because sometimes I look at people and I'm like, really? Oh, okay. I'm just going to answer that. And then they're like, oh my God. And I was like, I know.
Yeah. Now, question. Okay. So you have this slight bump out on the fireplace as well on the mantle. It's not big. What is it? It's about 3 inches.
Yeah.
It's about a 3-inch bump out. So, and then you have the mantle. which is about 4 inches.
Mhm.
And what is your idea for the fireplace mantle? So the sconces are it's really interesting. The sconces are wide as they are now. And I know we're not keeping them, but
Right.
the sconces are super wide, which means that even though there's a TV bracket, you can't actually get the TV in there because the sconces are too wide to support any sort of screen. So I'm curious what your thought is. And we had talked about media and that sort of thing. And you've got really interesting ideas about that. What are you thinking?
I think very slender sconces. Something like, what is it? It almost looks like it's marble, but with brass accents on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because once again, we got to make the room moody. And you can have the electrician move them out further. So this way you can put the size TV that you want there.
I don't know that you can move these out further, only because they're right at the edge of the bump out.
Right, but then the electrician will know how to move it to the other side.
Move them to the other side. Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They need
Perfect.
to listen. People, this is the beauty about renovations. You can create what you want, and as long as you hire the right people, they will know what to do, and they can bump it out even more to make it that much more appealing. Because this is not when the house was built. This is like, we're going to update it and make it for the grown and sexy.
Right. Love it. Okay. So let's keep walking.
Okay.
So now as we continue around, we get to this really interesting feature over my shoulder.
I love that. I love that feature.
It's really kind of cool. I'm going to try to get close up so you can see. Now, this works. The mechanism works. It opens, doesn't stay open, but it opens,
Right.
and you can see on the other side, you have the original brick. And I'm not really sure why they kept it. So I'm going to speculate that originally this was a skylight.
Okay.
And I'm going to also further speculate that at some point there was probably a leak. There might have been a leak or something that made them decide to brick it in.
I feel, you sure it's not like, what's on the outside? Did they cover that up and put a deck or something?
No, there is concrete. There's a concrete spillway.
Okay. That's interesting.
So that's why I assume that at some point, maybe decades ago, there might have been a leak into the basement, maybe even before they paneled it, because it does not look like there's any wood damage or any water damage on the wood.
I just think it's so funny that they just wouldn't figure out how to panel it in a certain way.
Right?
And do that.
Yeah. No, I think so too. It's a really interesting kind of feature though.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. Because in my mind, when I initially saw it, I was like, you know what, have fun with it. And I feel like you can put a small old world map or something on top of the brick as if you're going to explore. And maybe it was an exploration that you were going to do. I don't know. That's what, just cool. Something fun and kitschy to it.
Yeah,
because
totally.
Now it's framed and it's sealed like it's something really amazing. When all you did was get an old world map, stick it to the bricks, and then you just cover it with the glass. And it's just an interesting conversation piece where you could speculate what it was.
Yeah, right. So it's an interesting feature there. Then as we continue to walk around, we've got the shelving. Now,
I love it.
So with the shelving too, everything's monochromatic, mercurial, same color.
Yes. And what yeah, you know why? Because when you put books and other ornaments or whatever you're going to put in there, that's going to be your color there. And that's going to make it different. Mm-hmm. I really love the paneling. I love how it is. I know other people probably would paint the background a different color, or better yet, wallpaper the wall a different color, but I like how it looks. And
Yeah, no,
I want it very masculine in that room. And then I'll sweeten it up with pillows and make it, more feminine with curves and stuff like that.
love it. Awesome. Okay, now as we continue to walk around, we get to the stairway. So the stairway is also completely paneled. Now, the question I have for you is, because we're kind of not including this, but we are. It's a natural
included.
It
Right.
is. Okay. So does the mercurial transfer through and up the stairs, or
So
does it
now-
stop?
Okay, so I mean to cut you off, but now I'm looking like I wanted initially to come all the way down, but I feel like I want to make that hallway, that stairwell, a moment. And I'm gonna freak you out, Josh. I want to paint it all black.
Ooh.
I want to paint it all black. I want to do it like a nice high gloss black as you're coming down. And then because have you ever been to the Guggenheim in Manhattan? So when you
No.
step in, when you come, you got to go. When you step in, it's this small, tiny, tiny, tiny space, right? All of 2 seconds. And then you walk into the museum and then this expanse opens up. And it feels like your chest is exploding because you feel so claustrophobic, and all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, that's what I want to do there. Like that it'll be like, oh, this is kind of tight. What's down here? And then all of a sudden it's like, oh. And then of course, as you go out, you will see the greenery with the waterfall. And then of course, we'll do that patio area with some beautiful outdoor furniture.
Love it. Love
I'm
it.
probably freaking you out. I freak everybody out
No.
when I mention like strong colors. They're like, oh, I don't know.
No, not me. Listen, I have one of the my first design house, which was in 2013. There was a small powder bath off the kitchen. Azadeh Sladovsky was the designer on that, and she painted it a gloss black. And I went in thinking, ooh, really? And she was right. She was spot on. I mean, it was moody, it was sexy, it was really, really cool. And that's when, I kind of learned at that time, it's like, oh, you know what? Let the people who do what they do what they do. It seems so easy. That's why you brought them there. Let them do what they do.
Yeah.
Just makes sense. So yeah. Love it. All right. So now the rug, so you still have the plan, and you're gonna place everything, but what size is that rug? Does that rug cover the whole room, or is it a smaller piece?
It covers where the furniture will be on. I can't recall the size right now. What I would really love to do to inquire if there's some way we can do it custom, because what I would love to have it at least a foot off the wall and cut around the fireplace, because then it really grounds the space. And a rug, it is just like, it just makes a room much more happier and cozier, as opposed to like, okay, we have the rug here, right? And we have the furniture on it, but then what about all the tile and everything else that's around it? I'd rather just pull it, like stretch it all the way out, like I said, a foot off, and place all the furniture, because it will I'm thinking about the winter, I'm also thinking about spring, you come down, you have a gathering. It's just really amazing.
And I noticed the table and the chairs. One of the things that you had mentioned before was kind of like a vignette, a game center. Vignette.
Yeah.
Love that. So those chairs, 4 of those chairs around that table.
Yep.
Brilliant.
Because you have to think like, it's a game table, but then it can also be when you have guests over and everybody wants to be outside near the waterfall going in and out. It lends itself to, we can put food here. People can sit down here. And then also, if you want to do Zoom and work from home, you got a space there too.
Yeah, absolutely. Brilliant.
I'm
Brilliant.
excited. I'm
Oh,
super
me
excited.
too. Me too. Love that. Love that. Now, the one thing I will tell you is we were looking at that one chair, I believe was from Noir,
Mhm.
and that may be discontinued.
Of course. Of course. Well,
So-
I'll find another one.
So
we
if it
have
is,
to.
well, yeah, if it is, if we do, we can look at that. But you know, again, that's part of the life of specifying, and part of the perils and pitfalls of specifying is you get something and either it's discontinued, or it can't be delivered, or it fell off the boat somewhere coming from the south, you know, whatever. It is what it is, and you just have to deal with it.
Really. And that's the first thing that, you know, I do when, as I'm pulling all of this for a client, I call, how much is in stock? Okay. How much is here? What about this? Oh, this chair is being discontinued. When you say discontinued, how many are in stock currently? It's this. So then when I have the conversation and the presentation with my client, I'm walking them through, letting them know this is going to be discontinued. So yes, you'll make all your decisions today, but I need to order this immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Cool. So here's where we are in the process. We are, the team here is calling on all of the products that were on the list to find out what delivery times are and availability.
Okay.
So I will have that all ready for you by the end of the day.
Okay.
And so next steps are what?
Okay, well, once we figure that out, then I need to do the placement of everything in the room. And then whatever I see is still open, then I'll be like, here's what you need to order. Oh, wait, did you like the artwork?
Love the artwork. Love the artwork. The only question is what size?
Oh, as big as you can get. All right, I gotta.
And where is that for the back wall?
Yeah.
Back wall.
Yeah. And I gotta get a picture light for that too. But I'm gonna still, you know, I'm still tweaking it, but I wanted to initially send you something to show I am thinking about you.
Brilliant.
And get that to you. So I will set all that up. Give me another couple of days, and then this way we can come back and revisit and tweak whatever you feel like you want, or you feel like, I'm not sure about that, Gail. And then I'll talk you into it and you'll be like, you're right.
Well, it's brilliant. And okay, so next steps for us, and it's interesting too, because one of the things that we can do, and this is a question, not a statement, is, you know, now that we're kind of in the process of looking at specification and delivery times, and with the trades and getting the painters out here to do the paint. So you'll pick a black for the stairwell. And the mercurial, now is that the color you're going with? And just out of curiosity, why Sherwin-Williams as opposed to Benjamin Moore or someone else? Why Sherwin-Williams?
Because they have some amazing colors, and I think people are so focused when they think paint, they think Fine Paints of Europe and Benjamin Moore. I won't say the other one they think of because I don't shop box stores. But Sherwin-Williams really has some amazing, great colors. And sometimes I'll look through and I'm like, wow, that's a really great color. And then I'm like, oh, I wonder who makes that. And Sherwin-Williams. So I just like a lot of their colors. And their grays really read gray to me, like a nice gray, a happy gray, not like the sad prison gray.
Right.
You know, and I just when I thought of the room, I was like, this would go great because I just keep thinking of the outdoor area. And I was like, this is perfect because it's not competing. Because initially I was like, I want to do a dark color. I want to do something like an olive green or something in that room. Then I was like, no, because now it's competing with the outside. What can I do that I could just put it in there and it will force people to look out and want to go out.
Right.
So.
Okay. Love
That's
it.
the way I think.
So we can actually start working. Once you give me the go ahead, we'll start working on getting the painters out to start, because that's something that they can start whenever. We just need to have that done by the time it's, if you're doing it in the wintertime, knowing that you're, if it's end of September now, and know that much of the product isn't going to be delivered until December, January, February, which means we'll be looking at a reveal in February, then it makes sense to go ahead and start the paint now, because then it's completed and done by the time everything gets here.
I would probably get them in no later than have it done by January, right? So this way, when everything comes in, it's just easier because to put everything in. And also, I like to start a room, but then I like to have the continuity of okay, this is out of the way. These guys are coming in 2 weeks to deliver the furniture. I want it closer to the time, if that makes sense. I love it. I think it'll be great.
Yep. Absolutely.
So just let me know, and then I'll tell them the sheen
I do too.
that
It's
I want
wonderful.
too. Yeah.
Okay. One other question I have for you is, so if you see over my shoulder, you've got the plaid here.
Yes.
I'm going to assume that you're not wanting to keep that.
No.
Yeah.
No.
So the question I have for you is, what do you call this, by the way? What would one?
A
what's this called?
balance.
Is there a name?
Balance.
A
It's
balance.
called a
Okay.
balance, right?
So, all right. So do you want one there, or do you want?
Nope.
It
I
removed?
want nothing. I
You want
want nothing because
Okay.
you know why? There's nothing. I don't want to obstruct what's back there. And I feel like you have privacy, so you don't really need it. If you feel like a little uncomfortable and you're like, you know what, Gail, we want something here, I would do an amazing I would do a simple solar shade. I would see if I could get it close to mercurial. If not, then I probably do it in a black, and it would just go, be there. So you can still get some sunlight, but then you could have privacy if you need it, like some privacy, not completely dark. But I really love the exposed windows. I just think it's great.
Yeah, there is zero privacy issues here. So I think the valance was just there as a decorative touch.
Yeah.
When
it
they
does
put
nothing.
it there in the 70s. Yeah.
Yeah. It does nothing. It's so funny. I could go into people's homes now that want to hire me. They would have it. They'd be like, this is so amazing. I'm like, burn it.
Yeah, pretty much. Good.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. So that we're losing the balance. And then everything, window frame, trim, baseboards, everything same color. And you'll let me know about the ceiling color.
Yes, I will. All right, my friend.
We are moving forward. This is so exciting.
I'm so excited for you.
You are listening to a conversation from and about the 2022 Tulsa Remote Design House here on Convo by Design. We'll be right back. So listen, Wallpaper's having a moment, a well-deserved moment that is allowing designers to craft and create in new and amazing ways. Convo by Design has a new partner this year. This partnership includes participation in our Remote Design House Tulsa project, of which you will be hearing a lot about this year. I've been working closely with an exclusive group of partners, and I am absolutely thrilled to be working with York Wall Coverings. This company has been crafting exquisite wall coverings for over a century, with an archive that dates back to the early 18th century. This deeply rich history provides inspiration for the future. And the designs available through the York Wall Covering Studio have long been lauded for their authenticity and craftsmanship. This artistry, and history combined with a commitment to continually reimagining the manufacturing process allows York Wall Coverings to provide a consistently exquisite product. For options and inspiration, find them online, yorkwallcoverings.com. You can also find their store locator tool online at yorkwallcoverings.com for a location near you. Okay, so we're in the home stretch. You have heard all about how this project came to being, how it was ideated, how it was designed, how it was structured, what was specified or not. And now Gail takes us through the final walkthrough. This is it. This is the completed version. And if you go check the show notes, there will also be a link to video so you can see before and after and some along the way. We're here to talk about your absolutely stunning and amazing design. And it's funny because most of this is just going to be the images. I haven't shot it yet.
Okay.
We're zhuzhing, and we're shooting next week, but it's done. Everything's been delivered. The install has taken place. It's interesting because my not being a designer, I think you'll agree, I take instruction very, very well. But
Yeah.
my not being a designer, the zhuzh does not come naturally to me.
It doesn't for a lot of people. A lot of people think people think designing is so easy and you have no idea. And I just had this conversation today. When you are a creative, if you ever watch a creative at work, and then when the project is finally done, it's like all of a sudden all the energy has left them. And there's either one or two things. Either you're crying because okay, perfect example, Steph Curry. Right? He'll never get there. He'll never get there. And what did they do? They won the championship. And you saw when they won, he just fell down and cried. Like that's what it is for a creative person. Pardon me. And a lot of people don't realize, and especially for me, I feel like when I'm designing for people and I'm really focused on it, because that's my happy spot, I'm pouring my soul out over this because I'm really invested in how people are going to utilize that room. And I want to make sure it's amazing for them. When I'm done with a project, I'm just like, oh my God, thank God it's done. Like when I shoot it, I am in tears. I'm standing next to the photographer and like tears are streaming. I'm not even kidding you. Like my people can tell you, I'm just like, okay. And then I feel so great. And I keep looking at the pictures. I was like, wow, this was good. Like, I'm so excited how it comes out of my head. It lands the way it's supposed to.
So let's talk about this, and let's start at the beginning. So let's start with the stairway. And I have told this story about the stairway to so many people now. And it basically, for those who are listening to part 2 of this, so with the stairway, it is a narrow stairway that goes down from the first floor to the walkout basement to the club room. And it's a narrow basement stairway with a landing, and it was that same pickled paneling that was in the club room before, and you just looked at it one time and you said, we're painting it black. And I remember thinking at the time and even saying, I'm not really sure about that. And I think your response was something to the effect of, lovingly, it doesn't really matter if you're sure. If you're not sure, I am. And so we're painting it black. And you know what? Holy mackerel. I mean, you just nailed it. And you did 2 things with it. You had the flat on the walls and a bit more sheen on the ceiling to bounce the light from the stairway LEDs, which did not exist there before. There was under the paneling, you had this idea to install the LEDs, and we had the electrician pull from the switch. So there's a switch at the bottom of the stairs, there's a switch at the top. And to be honest with you, it has to be there because with a black stairway, you're not going down there in the dark.
Right.
Because we tried this out at night, light off, door closed. There is 0 light to be had. It's amazing. But when the light goes on and the fixture is the same as you will find in the club room, on the sconces, where did that come from? Why black?
Because it's such an underrated color. And people always think that if you paint a space black, you're making it smaller. But what you are doing is you are
visually cleaning up the architecture. You're visually making it interesting, at least for me. And then the other thing is like, black is so nuanced, and it is so amazing to see, how it like all comes together. And especially when you had said that, you showed me that it was a narrow hallway, my dogs, that it was a narrow hallway. That's Jasper speaking. If you've ever been to the Guggenheim in New York, when you step in, Jasper, sorry, when you step in, there's a small expanse, right? And hold on, I'm sorry.
Hold on, take 5. It's cool.
Jasper. So it's crazy.
All good. All good.
Okay, so if you ever visited the Guggenheim, when you step in, there's this small space where you come in at. The vestibule's really tight. And then when you step out, every time it's like your heart explodes, because then the expanse is there, and you look up and you went from having this ceiling like right on top of you to now stepping out, and it's just like, oh my goodness, like it just feels, it's just an explosion. That's the only way I can say it. And you just feel like such an open space about it, right? So it's really wonderful. And when you said that about the stairwell, I was like, oh, that would be great, because as you're coming down the stairs, it's narrow, narrow, tight, 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 quiet, it's just like a very shh. And then once you get to the last step and you turn the corner, it opens up, and then you also have the outside that it leads to. So now you're seeing that and Mother Nature. And that, to me, I was like, well, the stairwell has to be black, because now we have to make this space look amazing, because we're going to introduce Mother Nature to everybody in a minute.
And it's funny, I'm forgetting the name of the black paint, but if you're listening to the podcast, go to the show notes and you will find everything in this space that was specified. You'll find everything sourced with ways to get it, as well as connections to Gail and her amazing website. So I don't remember the name of the black paint. It may come to me, but I remember vividly the name of the paint in the club room, and it's mercurial.
Yes.
And again, what was in there before was this pickling on pine, on a pine panel. And the option was, do we pull the pine out? And you said, no, don't pull it out, leave it. It's got that feel and it's got the vibe that you're looking for, but let's paint it. And you went with a monochromatic, again, with the wall and the ceiling, which is amazing with the molding as well, but you changed the texture. You changed the finish, rather, between the walls and the ceiling, and it made just such an amazing difference.
Yeah. Because it's so funny, like even looking, I'm sitting in my living room, I have wallpaper, and then I have, all the trim is the same color as the wallpaper, because I like it to disappear, but it also gives, like, for lack of better terms, it's like lining, how a woman lines her lips, when she's putting on the lip liner and then puts on her lipstick. Like, it's just like there's, once you smudge it the right way, like it gives like this nice shadow. So it's almost like it's artwork, which it kind of is when women do makeup, because it's just amazing. But I always like looking up at a ceiling and having some little shimmer or something going on, because everybody, or a lot of people like, oh, clients like, oh yeah, white flat paint. I'm like, no, like we're gonna make sure this is smooth, and we're gonna do something amazing up there. Like that's the, as people say, the fifth wall. But it's just so underrated. And I'm like, why would you just, when you do monochromatic, there's a way to do it, but also to break it up so it makes it a little bit more interesting visually.
Yeah, and the mercurial, had you used, and you specified Sherwin-Williams.
Yes. The mercurial, I found it when I was working on a project in the city, because we were picking colors. And I was like, this one is just like speaking to my soul. And we went with a different color, but the mercurial reminded me of like Benjamin Moore's Smoke Embers. Like there's this classic look to it, a little bit gritty, a little bit fresh,
but very interesting. And I love the time of day, like it'll be a different color if you sit in the room, different times of the day where you'd be like, "Ooh, wow, that corner is dark. Is that a different color?" And you're like, "No, it's all the same color." And you'd be like, "Oh, it looks a little bit more lavender during the day, or it looks a little bit more green, or I see some blue." Like grays are a very beautiful color to me, done right.
And love it. And we also, same thing on the mantle, same thing on the bookcase, the built-ins. It just, that color is just so nice. And one of the things too, and I'm going to try to capture this in the video, I'm going to try to capture it at different times of day, because we're in the summer now, and it's been really interesting, different times of day, how it will, it'll capture the colors outside and sort of bring them in. It's really, that window is a southern facing window. And so during the day, when it's going through the backyard, it's amazing, the colors. And what's interesting too is because it's a walkout basement, there's only that one window. That's the only source of natural light. So it really does make everything pop. Now, interesting too, getting to the furnishings. So Gail, I want you to know something. I have been doing this podcast for 9 years. Next year, it will have been a decade. In that time, I have published over 380 plus episodes between the panels and the individual interviews. I've spoken with literally hundreds and hundreds of creatives. There were certain things that happened during the course of this install that I never really talked about with designers before. And I think it's really interesting. The greatest creatives are the ones that really kind of deflect all of the negativity away and just embrace the positive so that their clients wind up with the most incredible experience through the design. And that is one of your superpowers. You do that amazingly well. You really do.
Oh, thank you.
And I love you for it. But because this was a remote project, you've never been to Tulsa. You were not here for the install. You've never, and that was part of it, is that where designers are learning how to do remote design. And this was an experiment. This is a case study. So you've never been here.
Nope.
So all of the things that happened and took place. So let's talk about that a little bit. And I want to know if this is standard, right? But if this is standard for what you have to deal with now. We went through the design process August, September of 21.
Wow.
You made your selects in September. We ordered in September. It was delivered in June.
Typical now.
Is that standard?
Yep.
We had a delivery between two rooms. We ordered some other room for one of the other rooms. We ordered product as well. And of 23 pieces that were delivered, over half were damaged in some way, shape, or form.
Welcome to my world.
Is that standard?
Yes. Yes, everybody thinks, being an interior designer is a lot of fun and you get to shop with people's money and they think you're lunching all day and, on private jets. But what people don't really understand is that interior design, it's like 10% designing and the other 90% is invoicing, chasing product, receiving product, it being damaged, smashed. Who's responsible, then fighting with the people who are responsible if they're saying they're not, and forcing their hand to pay for that. Like, you have no idea. And funny story, just a couple of weeks ago, one of my clients emailed me and was like, "Hey, my wife and I feel like, since your guy messed this up, we shouldn't be responsible to pay for your time to correct it." And I was like, "Okay, so then you correct it." "No, but that's why we hired you." So I'm getting paid because this was not my mistake. And so for me to correct it for you, you're expecting me to do it, which I will, but I also am billing you for my time, because what you think is a 1, 2, 3 and it's done, it's literally a litany of phone calls. Perfect example, I'm looking at a table that I had delivered from Highland House, and I'm glad I caught the guy before he pulled off. And I opened it up, and it was a lucite table. And when I say it was smashed, it was all that was left was like the base. And it's a tall table. It's a decent sized table. And I was shooting for Schumacher. I was supposed to shoot that week with it. And then finally I was like, we just have to shoot without it. And it worked out fine. I think that probably was in March. That was in January. I finally got the piece in May, the replacement piece, because I had to go back and forth because it was the trucking company and not Highland House. And people don't understand, like, you are speaking to everybody. Okay, you're hanging up. This is a person. No, that's not me. Go to this way, go to this person. And you're putting all that in, you're making notes, and then you have to make reminders to yourself and to your team. Someone is following that bouncing ball to make sure it lands where it's supposed to and doing the replacement. So yeah, that's normal. I had a $40,000 rug delivered, and the way they picked it up with the forklift, they pierced a hole all the way through it. And so there was this rhythmic hole once they unfurled that rug. And I had to call, and they called the rug doctor, who came out, and you could not even tell where the holes were. So yeah, people have no idea. They think like, oh, it's just design, it arrives, it's perfect, it's great. I'm like, no, that's orders get, things get wrong. You ordered a chair knowing that you wanted the swivel, then the chair comes in, you go to sit down to swivel, and it's not that. And then you look at what you wrote down, and you didn't write the SW, meaning swivel, for that. There's a lot. Yeah.
I will tell you though, that's one thing. And by the way, that's something that really does get lost in translation is the language barrier. And that is, again, another superpower of really talented designers, is understanding that it's not just the numerical values of what you're ordering, but the SW makes such a big difference, because that's the movement of the chair. So there's a language to this, and there's a narrative, there's a sequence that you have to follow. And if you're doing this by yourself without the talents of a really strong designer, you don't get that. You don't get that value. You don't get that service. The other thing is the chasing around of vendors right now that we're doing to try to get some of these things fixed. I'll give you an example. And by the way, when I shoot this, I'm going to shoot this two ways. I'm going to shoot it so that you can see the way it's supposed to look,
Mm-hmm.
and the way that it does look. But I'll give you an example. So there's this black leather chair that you specified for this. It is gorgeous. I mean, it is just amazing, and it is comfortable, and it is just so the right piece for this. But you got to realize you're in Tulsa, so you're getting things shipped to you. I mean, the people who brought it to the door with the white glove service, I mean, they were like the third ones to touch it, right?
Right.
So during the process, somebody got the great idea to put packing tape on black leather. And so when they ripped the packing tape off, it's like skin. It's like anything else. They took a layer of skin off of the leather, and it left a slight couple millimeter indentation with a brown patch where the tape was. And, you have a choice. Nowadays, I mean, if this was 2018, 2019, take it back, get me a new one.
Good luck with that now.
Good luck with that now. You're not turning down anything. You're making a note, you're taking the pictures, you're following the process to get things taken care of, but you're not sending it back, because it won't get here for another 18 months. And in this case, this was discontinued.
Oh,
So
that's a new thing now. Everything you go back with, it's like, they're done.
they're done. So this is discontinued. So we're going through the process. And for those who are interested, I'm going to keep you updated on the process, because I think it's important, because I think everyone should know what you designers have to go through in this. It's important. Here's the other thing of your skill and your talent. And one of the reasons that I just love you so much. You are so nimble and comfortable with your skill set and your talent that when something needs to be adjusted and changed, you have the confidence to do it on the fly. Case in point, the rug that we originally specified for the room, that originally said, you know what, love it. When we went to order it, no problem, get a call back a couple months later, literally a couple months later, and said, oh yeah, by the way, the rug's not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, no, discontinued. And, you know, there was no other option. So I did what a good designer's assistant will do. And as your assistant, I went and found some other options to present you with. And I said, you know, here are some options. And by the way, the best option for this that was really, first of all, it was very, very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Came from the Home Depot. It came from the Home Depot. And again, if this were 2019 and you're talking about doing something that's high style and high design, forget the high-low mix, right?
Yeah.
But if you're doing something that's high style and you're looking at a rug, well, you know, a $1,500 rug from the Home Depot versus a $4,000 rug from another vendor, but one that in this environment can get there in a couple months.
Yeah.
It's got incredible reviews, and the colorways and styling is almost exactly what we were looking for.
Yeah.
So ordered it, got it. It got here very quickly. And, you know, look at the images. You see for yourself. It is just stunning. It's amazing. Talk to me about the layout as you design this, because one of the things that I really, you know, again, not having your vision as you look at something and you say, okay, well, what's it for? What's the purpose? What's going to happen down here? You're writing the story for the people that are going to live here. You crafted zones in this space. How did you come up with that?
Well, I always start with my floor plan. And for me, I first, after I do the initial floor plan with no furniture, that's why hence floor plan, I look at the circulation path, which way, like where are the exits and the egresses, where are they going to be going? You know, where are we going to be walking across? And once I figure that out, then I'm like, okay, let's now lay out the furniture. And then I just start loosely, you know, sketching things out. This would be here, this, ooh, that doesn't feel right. Let me move it to the other side. Wow, that makes so much more sense over there. Okay, wow, is there enough room for a game table? Yeah, let's get that in there. You know, what are they doing? Oh, this is gonna be like a family room. I don't really want it to feel like, you know, a basement or a walkout, but I want the walkout to be really amazing, and I need it. Oh, look, there's an exit out to this beautiful lush green area. Okay, that's gonna be the view. And then I just work my way around that. And then I also think, what am I looking at outside? And I think of the colors that I want inside, because they have to somehow complement what's going on outside. And that when you come from outside in, the room makes sense too, like it feels good. So that's, you know, I'm like, how is he going to use this with his family? What are they going to be doing? Where's the dog sitting? Is there a dog bed in there? Do the kids have friends over? Do we need a foosball table? Like I think of, you know, like what's this room for? And then go from there.
One of the other things that I think you did too is you created a space where there was none initially outside. You extended the mercurial outside past the window to this overhang for the walkout. And it sings. It just absolutely sings. It was fantastic. A couple other things. Taking the brick around the fireplace and going with a high gloss black just popped. It just, and again with the sconces, and go look at the imagery with these sconces, they almost look cat eye like. And when you look at it from the artwork perspective towards the fireplace, where you left, we had this discussion. It's like, do you leave a TV, or do you take the screen down and make it a truly, high style, high design concept space? And your response was just phenomenal and honest. And it's like, look, this room is going to be used, and used hard. And it's about watching movies, and it's about being with the family, and it's about playing games. And these spaces were designed for that purpose.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you have a family. What are you going to do? You're going to tell the kids, go do something, go downstairs, go outside, whatever it is. And that space, I just see it as a hub. And I also, because, we have winters here where it's cold out and you have snow, that's a room that you're going to want to hang out in, because once again, you're looking out in Mother Nature, and there's going to be snow at times, and the fire is going to be going, and you're just going to be like, this is such a great space to be in. Like, you're going to be so happy that you're at home, and it's like yucky outside, but you're inside where it's warm, and you're watching a great movie, your family's there, the dog is playing or sleeping, and it just is a really good feeling. Like, this is how I think about things when I'm designing, like how it feels like on a rainy day, or there's a snowstorm, that I'm standing at the window with my cup of hot cocoa in my mug and looking out. And that's how I kept picturing it for me there.
And I want to point something else out too, whereas what you've done is you didn't just change the narrative for the space, you changed the purpose for the space. And you change, when you look at every room in a house, and every room has its function, right? And nowadays with the slashes everywhere, kitchen / gathering space / daycare, living room / classroom / office. With this basement, what you've done is you've repurposed the space itself so that in the winter, when it's 15 degrees out in Tulsa and the snow is piling up, the fireplace creates a really warm environment, because it's subterranean, and it's, there's walls on 3 sides and 1 window, but it's encapsulated, it's cocooning. You've created this cocoon-like environment. In the summer, when it's 103, like it is today, you go down to that basement and it is 20 degrees cooler.
Yeah.
It's in the high 60s, low 70s in the basement, in that space, because you've got this Saltello tile, and it's a very, very cool space. Again, subterranean, with no sun shining in. So just an absolutely masterful job on this. Congratulations, and thank you for the work. I'm so excited for you to see the final video, again, because you've never actually been here.
No, can't wait to see it. Can't wait to
That's
see
awesome.
it.
Gail, thank you for participating, and I am always such a fan, and you are a superhero. You really are.
Oh, thank you, Josh. That made my day.
Thank you, Gail, for your time and your talent, your patience, and amazing vision. Thank you, Convo by Design partners and sponsors, Thermosol, York Wall Coverings, Franz Wigner, Moya Living, and Article Furniture. Thank you for listening and subscribing to Convo by Design. I so appreciate that you take me with you on your drives, hikes, workouts, walks, all the other places you go where you listen to your podcasts. For more stories from the Remote Design House, Tulsa, and interviews, panels, and design events, please make sure you are subscribing to the show. Remember why you do what you do, and take today first.